Oh, I'm pregnant. You're like, oh my God, you're always pregnant. Like, do something about that. Have we finally caught up? Are we done time traveling? You know, some of us are getting really nauseous with all the time travel. No. We're still talking about goal magic, yo. And we still time traveling. And we're making our house smell like garbage. Remember? Remember that? Do you remember that? Some of you who are new for this particular video and haven't been watching any of the previous videos have no idea what I'm talking about. This time traveling business, this garbage house smelling business, you have no idea why there are candles burning over here, if you can even see these 3 candles. You are just lost and confused, and for the last X number of months, we have been on a journey together, tubies. We have been on a journey to open our minds and become new age and become crystal, hippy, dippy, loving, Wicca, Bicca, hippie, yippee. I ran out of words. No one cares is my point. So today I'm going to show you a really simple spell that you can do at home without sacrificing any of your children. You know that witchcraft, we love to sacrifice our children, right? Witchcraft is all about sacrificing, okay? Whatever Wicca Bicca book you read that said we don't sacrifice anything and we don't work with the devil, motherfucker. We sacrifice. Lunar Wisdom's like, I don't you sacrifice. Trust. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some string, about, you know, however long you want, and you're going to dip it in some oil. You're like, oh, that sounds fascinatingly flammable. That's the point. That's why you're also going to have a flammable container. This oil that you're going to wrap, that you're going to soak the string in, I should say, not wrap, is an oil that is in relation to the goals that you're trying to attain, okay? Remember from our last video, you're like, no, because I'm new to this channel. Well, bitch, you need to go back to the last video and then go back to the last one and all the way back, just all the way back. All the way back to February. Okay, you need to start all the way over and go all the way back to February and watch everything. There's a lot of inside jokes, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of picking on Cindy Lou Who, and there's a lot of slapping Sally Birkenstein across the face. We don't even know who Sally Birkenstein is. You're like, oh, we know. No, you don't. Sally Birkenstein's a fake, fictitious person. Now, Cindy Lou Who's real. Anyways. What you're going to do is you're going to take the oil of your choice, preferably a blessed oil, something that you've blessed, put some herbs, put some intentions into, you know, really thought about, really kind of, you know, put that magic into, right? And then when you've got your string like soaked in this oil, you're just kind of running your hands around it, kind of like what I'm doing here. And you're really just going to be putting in the intentions, as I'm attempting to do while explaining this, of binding your goal to you. Now, this won't work if you ain't doing the stuff you need to be doing to achieve your goal. So in the last video, we talked about one of my goals is to get a new car, to pay off my car, get a new car, and move to a small town. I don't think I said the small town part, but now, clearly it's going to take longer than a year to do all of this, but part of achieving that goal is having a job. So we're binding the job to us. We're making sure that nothing can get in the way, nothing can sabotage, nothing can affect that. We're binding it to us, right? The other thing that we're doing is, so we have the job, we're doing the stuff that we need to do, we need to follow the budget. Now this is where the spell, where these types of magics can easily fall apart. This is what I like to call like spiderweb magics. This shit will fall apart if you do not follow your goals, okay? For me, when I do a binding spell like this to bind a particular situation or goal thing, like habit or thing that I'm trying to accomplish over a long period of time, and I'm binding the necessary work, like keeping myself in check and whatnot, it only works if you are actively doing it. And the feeling that I get from that is just this feeling of my goal is one step closer, right? It's really, I don't know what kind of magics you would call these, okay? But we're gonna do it anyways. So once you've done that with your string, you're just going to wrap it around this candle. This candle is supposed to represent you, okay? I mean, you can use a person candle, you can use a whatever, it doesn't really matter. I just like to use these simple little candles, and it doesn't matter the color. So I'm basically binding the employment, the keeping of the stable employment, the keeping of the stable finances, making sure that I am following my budget, that I am listening to the spirits when they are giving me guidance, that I am not spending money on things that I don't need to be, and that I am working towards attaining my goals, okay? And when I say these types of magics are really fragile, it's not like it is fragile in the sense that if another witch was able to mess around with this, which you can't, motherfucker, but if you could, if another witch was able to, I mean, it would be really easy to just kind of pervert this kind of magics, or to wreck this type of magics, because it really is just like, it's paper thin magics, okay? It falls apart and it stops working the minute that you stop doing the things that you need to do to attain your goal. So let's say you're well on your way, you've burned one of these candles, you're working on your goal, you feel like the universe is opening the doors, it's opening the pathways, you're going down this way, it's like you have clear vision, you know exactly how to get to your goal, what steps and everything. That's kind of what this is meant to do. It's like to help you see what you cannot see, okay? Is to help you and to guide you, to open your eyeball. That's why we're gonna put some eye bright on this, right? So when you stop doing that, let's say like life gets in the way and you have to switch gears and go deal with whatever it is that is getting in the way of you working on your goal and achieving your goal, then that clarity, that vision, that understanding that this is the way I go forward just falls apart. It just falls away. And then you just feel like, wait, what was I doing again? Where was I going? Right? So these types of magics aren't good for hectic life, okay? If you're in a stable place in your life where you know that you've got a year or so and you can foresee, sort of, because we can't always foresee, right? But you can foresee at least for maybe 3 or 4 months that, hey, everything's gonna be fine, clear, and easy to do, and we're just gonna focus on this goal, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to get this goal, then these types of magics would be good. But if you have this like chaotic like life, let's say you're doing goal magics to get a house, right? And you do this type of magics to you know, bind the stability to you, right? And something happens, just anything, just name whatever, something happens and you stop focusing specifically on attaining this house, and you deviate and deal with that, and you come back to dealing with this house, you're gonna be like, wait, in which direction was I going again? Right? Like, it's that sense of blindness. So, my life ain't hectic, okay? Not right now. Motherfucker, we blessed. We still peasant witches, okay? Don't get us wrong. We still peasant witches. But that's why we're doing these types of magics. So we're gonna melt this to the bottom. If it will melt, motherfucker. And then we will put in some marigolds, because you know I like my marigolds. I think somebody in one of the comment sections said I was possessed. You're like, what comment section? The comment section from this year, 2020. I was reading through the comments because somebody had left a comment and they're like, I think you're possessed. It was on one of my live chats and I'm like, I'm not possessed, but if you'd like me to be possessed, motherfucker, I can be possessed. Let's start screwing around with Belith and a plague doctor, motherfucker. Okay, we're gonna get possessed. Okay, oh, we need some juniper. We need some juniper. See, my magics it's not anything complicated. It's very earthy, it's very backwoodsy, it's very me. You know how we do this, bitches. Let's get magical. Now, the other thing I want to say about this particular type of candle magics right here that we doing, okay, this types of candle magics that we doing here, is that you want to do these types of things for the short term of your long-term goals. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You just told us to light one of these fuckers for binding our long-term goals to us. No. You're not listening. You're not listening to the queen, and when you're not listening to the queen gets pissy. Okay, you are going to, yes, bind your long-term goal to you, but an aspect of that. So in this particular case, we need the financial stability to stay, and we need to pay off our current debts right now. And that is what we're doing. We are binding our financial stability to us. We are opening the ways and the paths to pay off our current debts in order to start working on our long-term goal. Remember, people, Christ, we did this in the last video. We're talking about long-term magics. This is not a series. This is just me rambling away, you know, how I do things. I do things in my own little way. I do things in my own little way. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Anyways. So we're just kind of keeping the financial stability, opening the paths, opening the roads, binding that to us. And we're also just making sure that, hey, you know, help us to, you know, follow our strict budget that we put in place or whatever. And you also have to make sure that you're doing that, because no one is going to physically or magically force you to do something that you don't want to do. Okay, so if you don't want to stick to your goal and do the little bits and pieces of work along the way to attain that goal, then these types of magics aren't going to do anything for you. But if you're the type of person who just needs that extra oomph, that extra clarity, that extra, oh, it's right around the corner, I can see it, and these are the steps I need to do to get to it, then this is the types of magics you want to do, right? Long-term goal magics we talked about in the last video. Anyways, tubies, I'm gonna let this burn down and I'll see you later.